Release them, Mikane said, or be destroyed with them. Tears filled Ajua's eyes, not of fear, but of realization. All her life, she had sought power, control, dominion, but now she understood. Some forces were never meant to be owned. Before we dive deeper into the story, please take a second to subscribe, like, share, and please tell me where you're watching from so I could acknowledge you next time. In the deep shadowed forests, beyond the rolling hills of a forgotten village in Africa called Otini, there stood a tree feared by all and understood by none. It was known as the talking tree of Nkang. Unlike ordinary trees, Nkang did not simply whisper with the wind. It spoke with intention, with memory, and sometimes with judgment. Its bark was dark as night, twisted like the faces of ancient spirits, and its roots spread wide like a net beneath the earth, listening to everything that touched the soil. The villagers believed the tree was a guardian, others believed it was a curse, but all agreed on one thing: no one who went to the tree returned the same. Some returned losing their minds because they have an unclean heart, while others returned with more wisdom. Not far from this forest lived a powerful and feared woman known as Mother Ajua, the Mother Witch. She was neither young nor old, for time itself seemed unsure of her. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark, and her voice could soften like honey or strike like thunder. She lived alone at the edge of the forest, in a hut surrounded by bones, charms, and whispering spirits. People came to her for help, but never without fear. They said Mother Ajua commanded creatures no human should control. Creatures called the deadly Onkunu Dwarfs. The deadly Onkunu Dwarfs were not like ordinary dwarves, but their size was a deception. Their skin shimmered like stone under moonlight. Their eyes burned like embers, and their teeth were sharp as broken glass. They moved faster than shadows and struck without warning. But what made them truly terrifying was their loyalty. They served only one master, Mother Ajua, or so everyone believed. One night, under a swollen full moon, Mother Ajua stood before the talking tree of Nkayan. Her voice slow and shaky. With a trembling voice she said, "I have come." Her voice steady but heavy with purpose. The forest fell silent. Even the wind dared not move. Then slowly, the tree began to stir. Its branches creaked. Its roots shifted beneath the earth. Silence fell again. Then a deep voice rose like thunder from the ground. "Mother of Shadows, why do you return?" Ajua narrowed her eyes. "You know why. The balance is breaking." The tree let out a low rumbling sound, something between a sigh and a warning. "The dwarfs grow restless," it said. "They no longer obey as they once did." Ajua's expression darkened. Trembling, she said, "Impossible. I bound them with ancient power. Their loyalty is sealed." "Nothing is ever truly sealed," the tree replied. "Not power, not loyalty, not even fear." Years ago, before the villagers knew her as the Mother Witch, Ajua had been something else, a seeker of knowledge. She had come to the talking tree, just like many before her, asking for wisdom. And the tree had given it, at a cost. Power must be balanced. For every force you command, something within you must yield. Ajua had agreed without hesitation. That was when she was given the dwarfs. But what she did not realize was that the dwarfs were not simply creatures to control. They were fragments of something older, deeper, something wild, something that could never truly be owned. Now, the balance was shifting. That same night, deep within the forest, the Onkunu dwarfs gathered. Their small figures moved like flickers of flame between the trees. Their whispers were sharp, restless. "She grows weak," one hissed. "She thinks she owns us," another growled. "We were never hers," a third said, its voice low and dangerous. Their eyes burned brighter. For years they had obeyed. For years they had waited. Now they hungered. Back at the talking tree, Adjoa clenched her fists. "Tell me how to control them," she demanded. "You gave me this power. You will help me keep it." The tree's branches trembled slightly. "I gave you nothing you did not take," it said. "And now, what you took seeks to be free." Adjoa's voice dropped to a whisper. "If they break free, they will destroy everything." "Yes," the tree said calmly, "including you." As dawn approached, the forest began to change. A strange mist crept along the ground. Birds did not sing. The air itself felt heavy, as if holding back a storm. Then came the first scream. A hunter who had wandered too far into the forest was found at its edge, lifeless, his body marked with small, jagged wounds. Not long afterwards, village started dying mysteriously. Others vanished without trace. The villagers panicked. "They have returned," the elders whispered. "The deadly dwarfs." Adjoa knew time was running out. She returned to her hut and prepared her strongest charms, drawing symbols into the earth, lighting black candles, and calling upon every spirit she had ever bound. "Come to me," she commanded into the wind. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, they appeared. One by one, dozens of glowing eyes in the darkness. The dwarfs stepped forward, their small forms surrounded by a faint, deadly aura. But something was different. They were not bowing. "You forget your place," Adjoa said, her voice sharp with power. The lead dwarf stepped forward, its grin wide and cruel. "No," it said slowly, "you forgot yours." Before she could react, the ground beneath her trembled. The dwarfs moved in unison, fast, precise, unstoppable. Adjoa raised her hands, unleashing a surge of magic, but it faltered. For the first time in years, her power wavered. At that exact moment, deep in the forest, the talking tree of Nikiene stirred violently. Its branches shook. "The balance must be restored," it echoed through the land. As the dwarfs closed in on Adjoa, something unexpected happened. The earth split open beneath them. Massive roots burst from the ground, wrapping around the dwarfs, pulling them back, restraining them. The forest roared with life. The talking tree had intervened. Adjoa fell to her knees, breathing hard. "Why?" she gasped. "Why save me?" The tree's voice filled the air. "Not to save you," it said. "To correct you." The roots tightened around the dwarfs, who hissed and struggled, but could not break free. "They are not yours to command," the tree continued. "They are forces of the forest, guardians of balance, not tools of control." Adjoa looked up, her pride shattered. "What must I do?" she asked quietly. The tree paused, then spoke the truth she had long avoided.
"Release them."
"Or be destroyed with them." Tears filled Adjoa's eyes, not of fear, but of realization. All her life, she had sought power, control, dominion. But now she understood. Some forces were never meant to be owned. With trembling hands, she raised her staff one final time. "I release you," she said. The words echoed like a breaking chain. The roots loosened. The dwarfs fell silent. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then, slowly, the glow in their eyes softened. Without a word, they turned and vanished into the forest, free. The mist lifted, the forest breathed again, and the talking tree stood still once more. Mother Adjoa was never the same after that day. She no longer commanded fear. She no longer sought control. Instead, she became something else, a keeper of balance, a listener, a guardian, not of power, but of understanding. And deep in the forest, if you listen carefully when the wind is still, you might hear three voices: the whisper of the talking tree, the quiet steps of the free dwarfs, and the soft, humbled voice of a woman who once tried to control what should only ever be respected. But did the dwarfs truly leave? What happens next? Please subscribe so you can know when I drop part 2 of the story. Part 2 drops soon.